Philippe Botteri, investment strategist with Accel Partners. He's leading the company's investment charge in Europe, and I'm pleased to say he's with me in the studio now. Thank you very much for coming in. Good to see you. Well, so when you compare Europe to the US, I mean, we haven't seen, I think it's fair to say we haven't seen the same sort of tech boom here in Europe, have we? The same sort of entrepreneurial activity hasn't prospered in quite the same way. Why is that?
So I would say that there are a lot of interesting opportunities around tech in Europe. Both, I mean, we have a very good talent pool here in the different countries, and there is a lot of innovation happening. And you see that Europe has been able to generate leaders such as, ClickTech, or a company like, Spotify or Gameforge or Wonga. And I can go on the list. I mean, all these companies have, have the potential to be or are already a billion-dollar company. I mean, ClickTech is 2.5 billion market cap already on the Nasdaq. So, I mean, I would say that there's a lot to like in Europe.
There's a lot to like in Europe, but the names that you mentioned, I mean, they haven't enjoyed the same sort of reputational or perhaps more importantly financial success as the likes of Facebook, Google, Zynga, have they?
Well, I mean, it depends what you call a financial success. I mean, for a venture capital investor, any company which can be north of $1 billion is a pretty good success. And so, yes, we don't have. I mean, Accel was investor in the Facebook when it was called the Facebook, and we're obviously very happy about that. And we also invested in Groupon. But we see that the same potential in Europe.
You see exactly the same potential in Europe as you found in the US.
I mean, Skype is a very good example of a European company which has proven to be a multi-billion-dollar outcome as well.
So, I mean, whereabouts, because obviously the US market is much more integrated, much more homogenous, European market perhaps a little bit more fractured, I guess. I mean, if you're just looking at, starting up a business, there is more regulation, red tape, bureaucracy. So tell me, whereabouts in Europe is much of this innovation or activity concentrated?
Well, so I mean, we look at innovation in terms of underlying trend happening in the industry, and right now, I mean, we see three big trends which we think are generating a lot of interesting opportunities to invest. I mean, on the software side, we see cloud computing and software as a service, which is completely changing the way people are interacting with software. I mean, it's really bringing the power of the internet to business application. We think this is creating a lot of disruption in the industry, and we have seen a lot of companies emerge throughout Europe around this technology. We see a lot happening around mobile, which has always been historically a strength of Europe, and now we see the emergence of platforms such as Android or the iPhone and iOS. You see a lot of new companies emerging, like Rovio, for example, and Angry Birds. Which is really exploding with thousands of millions of downloads already. So a lot is happening here.
And because the areas that you're focusing on are internet products, cloud computing, and software services. And so, I mean, within Europe, do you see many tech startups, many companies starting to prosper, growing in these areas?
Yeah, we see a lot of them. I mean, last week I was in Israel meeting with the software companies, and I was in Amsterdam meeting with another software company, in France meeting and with an internet company. I mean, there is a lot happening all across Europe, and including Russia, which is obviously a very active market for us right now.
Russia specifically?
Russia, yeah.
Yeah. Why is that?
Well, I mean, the internet industry is booming there, and we see a lot of good things happening. We recently invested in a company called Ostrovok, which is an online travel agency in Russia, focusing on hotels and really bringing what needs tailoring and offering tailored to the needs of the Russian consumer, which what the big companies haven't been able to do so far.
So investment opportunities there in Russia, and what about Western Europe?
Well, I mean, in Western Europe, we see a lot happening in all the different countries. As I mentioned, I mean, we are seeing companies in France, in the Nordics, in the UK, even in Spain and Italy. So it's a very active market right now.